Hello, everyone, and welcome to Experience Beyond podcast. I am Anand Nigam, your host, co-founder and director of XEBO.ai. At XEBO, we are passionate about transforming customer experiences with cutting-edge AI, helping organizations to turn insights into impactful strategies which drive long-term success. And that's why today for the podcast, we have chosen the topic which is all about CX that lasts, crafting a foundation for an enduring customer loyalty. To explore this fascinating topic, I am very happy to invite one of the foremost experts in business growth and customer experience, Jay Baer. Jay, I have a very incredible resume in front of me, which I would like to read it out to my audience. So Jay Baer is a business growth and customer experience expert, advisor, researcher, and a best-selling author. Over the last 30 years, Jay has helped more than 700 of the world's most iconic brands, which include the likes of Nike, Oracle, Salesforce, Bentley, and the United Nations, to gain and keep more customers. He is a seventh-generation entrepreneur. Jay has written 7 best-selling books on marketing and customer experience. He has also founded 5 multi-million-dollar companies. His expertise and insights have earned him global recognition, including being named the Global Guru for Marketing and the Global Guru for Customer Experience last year. An introduction into the Professional Speaking Hall of Fame, Jay travels the world teaching audiences how to achieve business growth and CX excellence. When he's not sharing his expertise on stage, he hosts the Spirit Guides Show, a podcast celebrating the entrepreneurial journey of top content creators. And there is a fun fact about Jay. He's also the world's tequila influencer, sharing his passion for tequila through creative videos on Instagram, TikTok, and beyond. We are honored to have you here, Jay, on today's show, which is for building CX that stands the test of time. Welcome to the show, Jay.
Oh, thanks so much. I thought we were going to talk about tequila, but I guess we'll do that some other time. We can focus on CX for this show. I appreciate you having me.
Thank you, Jay. So, like I said, the topic for today's podcast is CX that lasts, which is crafting a foundation for enduring customer loyalty. Now, my first question to you, Jay, is that you have spent years helping brands build outstanding customer experiences. In your experience, what are the core pillars of a strong and sustainable CX strategy that stands the test of time?
I think it's primarily being willing to make difficult operational decisions that benefit customers that will pay off over a longer period of time. So Forrester Research has a really interesting perspective on this. They came out with a year or two ago called customer obsessed companies. And it's how they look at organizations and sort of where they are on a continuum of CX being a huge priority in the business. Look, I've been doing this a long time.
Okay.
And I don't know that I've ever worked with a business that said, we don't care about customers. We're not interested in customers or customer experience. Like, everybody says they care about it, but do you actually care about it enough to make difficult decisions? So the way Forrester talks about this is they say that customer obsessed companies are willing and working to provide value for customers instead of extracting value from customers. And I really like the way they frame that up, right? Are you providing value to customers instead of extracting value from them? Now, what's interesting about this, Anand, is that companies that are customer obsessed, according to this Forrester rubric, have a 300% lower churn rate than companies that aren't. 300% lower. That is awesome. a massive financial impact. But it requires patience to see those results. I feel like most organizations who don't stand the test of time in their CX initiatives, it's because A, they say they care about customers until it costs them money, and B, they are treating it like a project when it is not a project. It is a process. The thing about CX, which is, I think, unique in business, is you are never finished. You will never be finished with your customer experience initiatives, because the second you get better, customer expectations leapfrog it.
Nice, which is, I think you actually touched upon my second question, which was what separates companies which are excellent in delivering customer experience versus the ones which are struggling? And 2 points which you already talked about is one, companies for who the customer experience is not a P&L, but is a part of the strategy. So those are the companies who succeed. And companies who are transforming, who are taking hard decisions to change their operational pillars are the ones which are succeeding.
One of the problems with customer experience as a discipline is that most people think too big. We should improve customer experience. Well, yeah, of course you should. But how exactly? See, this is going to get a little weird, but customer experience doesn't actually exist. Like, it's fake. We made it up. It's not a thing. Customer experience is not a knob that you can twist. It's not a switch that you can flick. It's not a holistic element of your business. It is literally all the things. It is dozens or hundreds of individual decisions that you make in each and every day. It's how you answer the phone. It's how your emails are written. It's how you handle returns and on. It's all the things, right? So for somebody to say, hey, let's just get better at customer experience, that never works. In fact, one of the craziest statistics is that 3/4, 75% of enterprise customer experience improvement initiatives fail to produce ROI. 3 and 4 fail. And it's almost invariably for the same reason. They treat it too big. They think too big. So what you got to do instead is think small, to say, what are the specific things that we're going to do differently? What are the specific things that we're going to stop, start, or change that will alter the way customers think about our organization? Now, I've done a lot of research on this topic in my career, and there's a lot of things that customers care about. But I believe, based on analysis, that the 3 things that customers care about disproportionately are these. They want you to be quick, they want you to be clear, and they want you to be kind. Quick, clear, and kind. And if you can get those 3 right, specifically, you'll be well on your way to over-delivering on CX.
Well, that's very simply put. Quick, clear, and kind. But you mentioned there is a lot of levers which the companies need to work on to deliver this promise of quick, clear, and kind to their customers.
Yep.
That's awesome.
It's not easy, but it's easier when you think small instead of big, right? You say get better at customer experience. That's like turning a battleship, right? It's too, and it requires the whole organization. But if you say, hey, in this particular element, we're going to try and respond to clients 50% faster. Like, you can do that, especially with AI.
So identifying those specific initiatives and use of AI can help them to become quicker.
Absolutely. I mean, speed is certainly one of the primary areas that AI can effectuate. Personalization and more of a bespoke style is another one. But that's why, I mean, what you're doing in the organization is sitting right on top of a trend in technology that is literally going to revolutionize how customers interact with businesses. That's great for business, I think. The challenge is that customer expectations will continue to escalate, because now they're going to get faster and faster service, they're going to get more and more personalized service, and so then they're going to come to expect that quality. Where one of the things that ironically benefits business today is that most customers expect to be treated poorly. Right, the bar is pretty low. And so that bar is going to go up because AI is going to help elevate it. And that's both a blessing and a curse for business, I think, going forward.
So I've added a 4th point to your quick, clear, and kind, which is personalized, because you just talked about customers are expecting personalized attention to their requirements.
They can have it now. Like, since I started in business, we've always said, it'd be great. It would be so amazing if we could treat each customer as an individual, not as a number. Like, we've said that for literally decades.
Absolutely.
But it's just not really been practical in most circumstances because of the cost and the complexity. Now it largely is doable with AI. And again, relatively soon, customers are going to come to expect that as the norm. So you better be able to deliver it.
It's very interesting that you brought AI to the discussion because my next question is around that. So we at XEBO.ai, we work with brands to harness AI-powered insights, like it could be sentiment analysis based on whatever feedback you are receiving from your voice of customer programs, or even to just listening to the customers on what they are saying on social media, on your social media handles, and so on. So real time to understand customer needs better is something which can be powered by AI. So how important is this real time customer intelligence in shaping your experiences that drive this loyalty, customer loyalty?
I mean, I think it's non-optional. I mean, it's critical,
Okay.
vital. I mean, I don't know why, all else being equal, you would conceivably not put that kind of program into practice, because a couple of things are true. One, customer expectations are escalating faster than most brands can keep up. The only chance you have is to really understand what customers expect now. And that requires ingesting probably more data and using AI to make sense of it in a way that maybe you didn't before. See, historically, what companies have done is they've made operational changes based on customer complaints. If you get enough negative feedback, like, hey, man, maybe we should change this, people don't like it. But it takes a long time for those complaints to stack up, especially when they're in multiple channels. The other thing that's really important to understand is that for every 100 dissatisfied customers, okay, only 5 will complain.
Right.
5 out of 100, which means for every one complaint you get, and that's in X, it's Instagram, it's chatbot, it's email, it's face-to-face, a letter, ask to see a manager, whatever. Every one complaint you get, mathematically, 19 other people had the exact same problem, but didn't actually complain to you. Now, this is important though. They may have complained to their friends. They may have complained, somewhere else in social media, but they didn't actually tag you and like that, which is why it's so important to listen more broadly for terms that maybe aren't exactly your brand name or your business name, but things that are related to your services, because you can find so many insights. There's a global chain of bakeries that I used to work with, and they're known for their lemonade. They make an incredible lemonade, and they got really active in a pretty significant voice of the customer program, did a lot of social analysis, a lot of insights, and they discovered, to their horror, that in California, which is a large market for them, something had happened along the way, and they were making the lemonade based on an old recipe, and they had no idea. And then they started to realize, like, oh, here's some customers that are complaining about this, but not to us directly, but like off to the side, like, yeah, the lemonade tasted different. I don't think it's as good. And they finally kind of stitched this together and like, oh, and then they did a little deeper dive and realized that literally all the restaurants in a whole state were making the wrong recipe. You've got to understand what people are saying about you, and you've got to be able to put that into practice faster than ever. You've got to take insights and turn it into operational changes as quickly as you possibly can.
Yeah, and even the volume, like you very nicely put that, out of 5 out of 100 customers who are unhappy will actually complain, which
Yeah.
means, I mean, it could be 20 times or 25 times, whatever that number is. But
Yeah.
it's the understanding that there are so many customers who might not be complaining, but having same problems. So it's important to address that problem, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, look, I say this sincerely. Customers who complain are the most important customer you have, because they're actually going on record. They're taking their time. They're literally volunteering their time to say, I feel like you could do this a little better. Most people don't care enough to complain. They just stop giving you money. So anybody who provides you any feedback, good, bad, or indifferent, you need to cherish that as the gift that it is.
Right. And today, in these times, these feedbacks are coming real time. So the moment there is a problem, you immediately get to know there are triggers, and you can
That's it.
rectify them. So which is awesome.
Yeah, that's the
Right.
exciting thing, I think, about what you do on the platform, right? At XEBO
Right.
AI is the loop, right, between feedback analysis and operational adjustment is so short, and that is a huge competitive advantage.
Absolutely. And like you said, now with AI and automation, it is non-optional. Organizations need to adapt these things, which is more and more required today for customer managing your customer interactions and so on. Yet I hear from a lot of clients, a lot of customers that yes, AI and automation is important, but yet they want human interactions, human connections. So how important do you feel while the companies are implementing AI and automation, the importance of human connections in developing this long-term loyalty?
I hear that a lot also, Anand, but I will say this. I think most of the people who say we have to have human interaction are saying that based on philosophical decisions, not operational decisions. Because there are a lot of AI driven bots out there that are just as good as humans, and in some cases better. Because your AI chatbot never has a bad day. Your AI chatbot is never sick. Your AI chatbot never gets angry when the customer yells at them. There are AI chatbots, and I've demoed many of them, that are literally more empathetic than a human agent. So I think eventually, while yes, you want humans to oversee the program, and you always want the opportunity for somebody to speak to a real person if possible, I think largely we're going to see more and more of the interactions handled by AI, because AI will in fact be that good.
Right. And like, I'll go back to your four key words that you talked about when
Yeah.
which customers are expecting, which is quick, clear, kind, and personalized. Now, I think if I assign equal weightage to all four, then clearly quick, clear, and personalized is something which is AI is far superior in delivering. And it's
Mm-hmm.
a kind, which is something which requires more humanization. So if I have to put numbers, can I put, say, 75% it's all about automation AI, and maybe 25% it is all about humanization?
Yes, although I would say that again, we are going to very quickly be in a place where AI can handle the kind part as well. Like I've seen it, I've done it, I've demoed it. Like it is mind blowing. If we're talking about 2025, yes. 2026, I think we got to shift the numbers again.
Oh, that's nice. Any examples that you can give to
Yeah,
our
like
audience?
there's a really interesting demo out there called Hume, Hume, Hume.ai, which is a voice AI, and you can license it for different techniques. And so it's almost to replace a telephone agent, and it actually is trained to listen to your word choice, your tone of voice, your rate, your pace, and instantly in real time identify the emotions that you are expressing as a human, and then it will model and mirror those emotions as an agent. It's almost like a chatbot psychiatrist. It is amazing, amazing.
Yeah, it sounds very interesting the way you talk. Humet.ai.
Hume.ai. Yep.
Hume.ai. Awesome. Yeah, thank you. Now, many companies are also focusing on a lot of quick fixes,
Mm-hmm.
quick wins for the CX instead of thinking about long term. So, what common mistakes have you seen, and how can businesses future proof their long term CX strategy instead of just focusing on quick fixes?
I mean, look, this is the existential burden for customer experience departments and professionals, is correlation and causation back to business outcomes. I think almost all leaders intuitively understand that a better customer experience is probably desirable financially as opposed to a terrible customer experience. But putting actual math around that can be hard, right? Because there's a lot of things that go into customer acquisition. There's a lot of things that go into customer retention. Customer experience is certainly a big part of it, but it's not everything. And figuring out exactly what CX's role is on quarterly results, annual results can be really difficult. And so what happens is that customer experience departments, customer experience professionals, other business leaders are struggling to create some sort of metric that says, all right, if this number changes, it proves that customer experience is worth the investment. And sometimes that's a net promoter score increase or something along those lines. But that's not necessarily the best outcome. And it also forces you to think very short term, where, of course, the best customer experience programs not only take a while to germinate, but the results take a while to show up, because depending on your business, CX has a huge implication on retention. And you only see that benefit downstream. If you're in, for example, I'm doing a presentation in 2 weeks for a very, very large real estate organization. Okay. Now, they're focused on improving the customer experience for their clients, as they should be, and I will help them do that. But how often do you buy a home? Right? Like how often do you say, yes, I should buy another house? It takes a while, right? For a
Once in
customer
lifetime.
experience. Yeah, once or twice, right? So it takes a long time for a customer experience initiative to show financial benefit in an organization like that. Now that's an extreme example, but we have to understand that the goal is not to be good at customer experience. It's not. The goal is to be good at business because of customer experience. And so you've got to work harder to figure out how those two things move in lockstep. But sometimes that requires you to look out a little further to see the financial benefits of the CX initiatives that you're taking part in today.
Yeah, absolutely. Though, I mean, going back to your example, though purchasing a property, buying a house is once or twice in a lifetime decision. But once you have taken that decision, you're experiencing that property is every day,
Yeah,
every hour.
that's right.
You are there, your family, your extended friends, they're all experiencing it. So experience goes beyond that one transaction. It's much bigger than that.
Yes, and that's why in organizations like that, this is another thing you've got to model and measure. The customer experience impact and outcome may not be in retention, but instead in word of mouth, right? And new customer acquisition. So if I'm really happy with my real estate agent, I'm probably not going to buy another home for a while, but I'm going to tell my friends about my great experience, which then helps them get the next generation of customers. So it's one of the things, it's not an accident. My last 2 books were about customer experience and speed and word of mouth, because those things fit together very nicely, but we don't think of it that way very often.
Nice, nice. So if a company is just starting to set up their CX approach, what is one piece of advice you would give to them to ensure foundation for a very long-term customer journey and customer experience?
Well, look, customer experience is executed by your team. So I would focus first on the employee experience. It is almost impossible to have great customer experience without great employee experience. If the employees are not happy, if the employees have to work very, very hard to do their job, that naturally will leach out into the customers. I did an analysis on this a long time ago, just out of curiosity, and I measured companies with a high net promoter score, indicative of good customer experience, versus companies that have been named a best place to work. And the correlation was almost 1. Like it literally is the same group of companies, right? So if you're a great place to work, you're a great place to buy from. That's not an accident, because if you don't have a good employee experience and you try to focus on customers first, you're going to have a huge amount of turnover in your employee ranks. So then you're constantly having to get them up to speed on CX, and it just never gets above mediocre. So work on employee experience first, get that shored up, then focus on customer experience, and that will help you stand the test of time.
Awesome piece of advice, and I 100% agree with you because even in my experience, organizations where the employees have been empowered, employees have been happy, there is a good culture within the organization for the employee success, have been far more successful in their customer experience and growth, return on investment through customer experience. So which is great advice. Thank you so much, Jay, for sharing.
Of course.
Which brings to the close of the podcast, the main part of the podcast. But we have got a very interesting episode in the podcast, which is the rapid fire episode. So let's start with first question. You are a coffee person or a tea person?
I am a tea person now, but for almost my whole life, I was a coffee person. I switched to tea like 14 months ago. So I'm new to tea, but I like it very much.
So Jay, you are a beach vacation or a mountain getaway person?
I feel like in this quick fire round, I'm saying both every time, but I used to have a house in the mountains and I just bought a house at the beach. So both, although I guess more presently beach.
Nice. So if you could describe customer experience in one word, what would it be?
Heartbeat. Heartbeat. It is the
Yes.
heartbeat of the company.
I could not find a better word. Very well
Yeah,
said.
thanks.
What could be the best piece of advice that you have ever received in your career?
Oh, I still look at it every day. I've got a sign right off camera here. My mom gave this to me when I first started my first company 30 years ago, and it's a sign right there, and it says, "Accept that some days you're the pigeon, and some days you are the statue." Right. So some days you are the one doing the pooping, and some days you are being pooped upon. And I love that sign because it reminds me to sort of always keep an even keel, right? Not get too overexcited by your successes, not get too depressed about your failures, and just realize that tomorrow's another day.
Wow, moms can be so honest.
Exactly.
Finally, Jay, name a brand you think is absolutely killing in CX.
I would probably, I mean, there's a lot, thankfully. I really like what Chewy.com does, the pet retailer. They've got a lot of products and they've got good prices, but I would argue that their customer experience, especially their empathy and kindness, is what sets them apart as a differentiator. They have an amazing program where if you have a pet that passes away, they've got a whole staff of oil painters that they use, and they'll find a picture of your pet in social media. They will paint an oil painting of your deceased pet, FedEx it to your house with a handwritten condolences note, and that happens the next day. So you send them a note that says, "Hey, my dog passed away. Do you want me to return this unopened bag of dog food?" And they say, "No, it's too much to ship. Just donate it to a local animal shelter." Then they find that you've got a picture of your pet, and they paint you a picture of your dog with a note. "We're so sorry. Knock, knock, knock." The next morning, it's at your house. It is extraordinary, the kind of things that they
That's so
do.
kind.
It's amazing, right? It is
Yeah,
absolutely amazing.
so
And to
kind.
do
Yeah.
that at that scale, like if you're a local pet shop that has 3 employees, that's one thing. But these guys are $1 billion company. It really shows that you can have that kind of kindness and you can have that kind of personalization, regardless of how big you are, if you choose to do so.
Wow. Thank you for sharing all these stories and examples, Jay. It was awesome to have you on this podcast.
Thanks.
Uh, it's a heartfelt thank you to you, and I'm sure my audiences would pick up a lot of, because I have taken a lot of notes and there are so many things that I have picked up from this conversation. I'm sure my audiences will be very, I think they can get good juice for their long-term CX implementation strategy from this conversation.
That's kind of you to say. Thank you so much. I loved being here.
Thank you so much, Jay. And until next time, keep innovating and crafting experiences that your customers will remember, cherish in long term. Thank you so much.
Take care.